and I go through that area quite frequently on my way up north, but I've neglected the area and I want to start hiking in that area again, and I think that's what they heard me say on the internet, so this is what they offered and this is exactly what this is. So wow, somebody put together their own map of Willmore Wilderness. Okay, folks, quick story. I've been asked a few times, why do you go by the name Martyupnorth on your YouTube channel? Because you live in Calgary, which is, by most considerations, southern Alberta. And the fact of the matter is, I lived up north of Highway 16 in the northern half of Alberta for almost all my adult life. Because of my career, lived there after graduating in 1990, places like Fox Creek and Grand Prairie and Edson and places like that. And I acquired the name, probably 15 years ago when I was applying for something like either eBay or creating an online account that asks you for a username. And I called myself Marty from the North, which became Martyupnorth when it was a single word. So that's how I come about. Now, in the days, and the reason I'm mentioning that is I used to live up north, and I spent a lot of time hiking up north, and you guys haven't seen many of my northern hikes because I've been on YouTube for the last decade, and in the last decade I've been hiking in, the lower Canadian Rockies, mostly Banff and Jasper. But early on, before YouTube, I used to spend a lot of time in a beautiful area called Willmore Wilderness, and I still head up there frequently. And I mentioned on a video recently that I plan on focusing on Willmore again, in the coming years now. I'm kind of tired of Jasper and Banff, and I want to go back up north and document Willmore for you folks. And when I said that, somebody reached out to me on via email, a gentleman by the name of, and I wrote it down, Zdenek Sishrava. And Zdenek, if I mispronounced your name or butchered it, I absolutely apologize, and it's not a name I'm very familiar with. But he asked if he could send me a map of Willmore, and I said, absolutely, you can send me a map of Willmore, be happy to look at it. Because the reality is, there's not a lot of maps of Willmore, and I'll zoom in on these later on in the video. I'll show you stuff. But in the early days, the first map of Willmore that I had, and you can use things like you can use digital solutions like Gaia or CalTopo for planning, but I don't bring those things, apps in the field. I like to bring a map. And Willmore, even on platforms like Gaia and All Trails, does not have a lot of mapped out trails. But just want to show you, this is an original 1990s Willmore Wilderness map. Okay, we'll show you details. I'll zoom in on details later in the video, but this is 1 to 125,000, so the scale on this is not very usable. This much on here is about a day's travel, so the scale is small, it's black and white, the contours, the trails, everything's monochrome, the same color, so it's hard to use this as a planning tool, and harder still to bring it into the field. So that's the map that we use for planning trips to Willmore for the longest time. Now, in the last few years, these guys, GoTrekkers, basically use the same map because it's the same scale, but they turned it into a color version. So the color version's better because you have an idea of elevation and valleys and rivers and campsites and stuff like that. So it's good, but it's still the same scale. And I plasticize it. I took it to somebody to have it laminated. So even laminated, it weighs a few, it weighs a few ounces, and it's bulky. It doesn't unfold easily in the field, and it's not that good. But I want to show you what Zdenek created. He created this absolutely gorgeous map. Now he's going to make 2 of these maps, but this is he's calling this one Willmore Wilderness East, and I imagine he'll do a west. Now the east is a great way to start because most people enter Willmore Wilderness either from Rock Lake or from around Grand Cache, from Sulphur Gate. So the east side of the park is where most people venture. Very few people venture deep into the west. But he's been spending, you know, a decade hiking in the park, and he assures me that all the trails on here are trails that he personally hiked. He's documented, you know, random campsites on here, proper campsites. I'll show you the details in the video in a second, but and look at how small it is, and this is convenient. So this is the area that you need. If for most people this is the only map of Willmore you need, is this Willmore East. He's got it in a plasticized paper, very small, folds out nicely, and it's great for planning. So let me put this on the kitchen table and show you some details of this map.
Yeah, I should have mentioned. So he's got a scale. He's got a nice legend. The scale is 1 to 65,000, which is, you know, I like the 1 to 50,000. And then, you know, the area where most people stage from is down here at Rock Lake. So you can see he's got distances on there. He's got scenic points. He's got campsites that are either very random or sort of established. There's no paid campsite in this part of the world. And then you know, he's got this line here is the border of Jasper, so you're in Jasper Park. And then he's got legends, and he's got different ridge walks, which is something that is very unique to Willmore. There's a lot of great ridge walks, and he has all of those. Yeah, just beautiful scale, beautiful detail. Got contours so you can gauge the elevation. Just lots of detail. This is an area that I want to go and revisit, is the natural arch, the ancient wall, going over Hardscrabble Pass, and then does he have oh yeah, Brewster's Wall. Then he also shows where there's patrol cabins. So just situationally, you know, Jasper Park. So Willmore borders on the northern boundary of Jasper National Park, and you can see in green, dark green, is the extent of Willmore Park, and he's got the east side right now, and so the west side is still missing. But like I said, to enter the west side, you have to penetrate deep as a person who's on foot, unless you start from Grand Cache. Got a few rippers. Eagle's Nest is a gorgeous area. And then he's got useful stuff like precipitation and temperatures for Hinton, Grand Cache, and Jasper.
Now the map, I haven't seen it in any stores right now, but it's available on their website, you know, at FordingRiver.com. I'll put the links below and everything else. And he's asking for, I believe it's $25, which is, I'd say, reasonable for something of this quality. And so you have to go to their website. I imagine if it becomes popular, he'll supply it to a few map stores in Calgary and places like that. But my first impression of this map is it's absolutely gorgeous, and you know, he assures me that he's hiked all of these, and looking at it, it looks fairly accurate. It looks like what I remember of Willmore. So there you go. Yeah, just a quick video. Like I said earlier, not a lot of maps of Willmore Wilderness, and this offers a fantastic option if you're planning on going to Willmore Wilderness and discover this absolutely gorgeous part of Alberta. So I'll be going there this summer. I have what I call an 8-day loop. I mean, one of the reasons I love Willmore is I used to, the north boundary, when you go in at Rock Lake, it's an easy way to get into the north boundary, but I also like to head north from the north boundary trail and explore, Blue Creek and lakes like Topaz and Azure, and then go over Hardscrabble Pass. So it's just an absolutely gorgeous area. There's nobody in there in the regular hiking season. Come hunting season, it becomes popular with hunters and people on horseback. The elevation gains are not too hard. Like it's a nice gentle rolling area, but the problem with Willmore is that it's, as you get up north in Alberta, you get more into muskeg, so hard land and good trails are far and few between in Willmore. There's a lot of muskeg, a lot of river valleys, so you kind of really have to know where to go in that world to explore it properly. And a map is a great way, and of course I'll have some videos on Willmore, not in time for this year's hiking season, but maybe in the next year you guys will get a glimpse of Willmore. Hope you like this. Give me a like, a subscribe, give me some comments, feedback. Love interacting with everybody. Marty up north saying get off the beaten path.